Joining me now is Gregg Conway, an old friend too. And it's good to have old friends. It's good to be old and have friends. Well, anyway, he's executive director of the Tulsa Boys Home. Good to see you again, man.
Great to see you, Sam. Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been.
Yeah. So we go back 42 years, believe it or not.
You're old. You're getting up there, aren't you?
You know, we've been on the planet for a while, getting a little long in the tooth, as they say.
Talk a little bit about the Boys Home. What is it? So for the folks who are just now hearing about it for the first time,
Yes.
what is the Boys Home all about?
So, Sam, the Boys Home, Tulsa Boys Home, is 106 years old this year. It was established in 1918 as an orphanage. And it has evolved over the years to become a state-of-the-art residential treatment facility. So it's way more than just an orphanage now. So we have 62 boys is our max capacity, and we're always bumping up against that 62 with boys comings and goings throughout the year, you know. 50 of the boys are wards of the state, Sam. They come through the child welfare system. And many of those 50 boys are boys we heard and read about on the news, Channel 268, Fox 23, article in the Tulsa World. 10 years ago, we heard about them on the news when they were just little boys, 2 and 3 and 4 years old.
That's so sad.
And they made the news, Sam, because of the evil, wicked things that were done to them by their primary caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
So then they get rescued by DHS, child welfare system, and they put into the foster care system. Well, because of what was done to them and some of the stuff that was done to them, you don't even want to know, you know? It was so horrific and evil. So then they get put into the foster care system. And before we get them at the boys' home, during that 10-year period between when they were rescued by DHS and put into the system and we get them, they have been in 20, 30, or 40 failed foster placements.
My God.
And they've been kicked out of every one of them because of their behavior. And why? Their behavior is such that
It's all they know.
it's all tied back to that early childhood trauma. So they act out in negative ways. And so, and I will tell you, the foster parents in this country get a bad rap because they're some of the most wonderful people on the planet that open up their hearts and their homes to these troubled kids, right? Who have been abandoned or abused, mistreated. I mean, we're talking about wicked sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect. I mean, stuff, again, that you don't even want to know about, you know? So then they have all these rejection notches on their belt from being kicked out of all these foster placements because of their negative acting out behavior, you know? So when we get them at the boys' home, it's a tough crowd these days, you know? Their mental health issues are off the charts. You've heard of, I'm sure, of ACE scores, or adverse childhood experiences. Well, these guys, their ACE scores are in the stratosphere, Sam, you know? So these guys are at the highest risk for a life of, you know, just bad decisions, you know, substance abuse and all of it. In fact, we know now that child abuse and neglect is generational. And, you know, I struggled with that for a long time, and I kind of still do in a sense, because if I never meet the adults that hurt these boys, it would be too soon, you know? But the thing is, if you pull back the curtain and you look at the backgrounds of these adults that hurt these boys when they were little boys, guess what you're going to find? The same thing happened to them. So unless there's some intervention, right, in the lives of kids who come from abusive and neglectful homes, it's going to repeat itself.
History repeats itself.
That cycle's going to repeat.
You sit in the saddle on this where you see it 24/7.
Yes, sir.
And you only see a limited number.
Right.
Otherwise, you'd go completely bonkers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there's just no more room. If these kids were not taken in by the Tulsa Boys Home, we would read about them and hear about them again and again and again until finally they started to kill.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, one of my fabulous board members, who is the former DA of Tulsa County, you know him, Tim Harris.
Yeah.
Tim said to me one day, this is a few years ago, he goes, Greg, you know what the Department of Corrections refer to the foster care system in this country, not just Oklahoma, but across the board in the United States? I said, no, Tim, what do they refer to it as? He goes, the pipeline to the penitentiary. And again, it goes back to what we just said, right? If there's no intervention, and if we don't intervene in these boys' lives and help them see that there's another way to live your life other than the way you were raised,
Yeah.
you know.
All right, let's bridge from that into the Run for the Roses.
Yes, yes.
How does that figure in, and what is it?
So Run for the Roses is our biggest fundraiser of the year, Sam. So it started 20 years ago. So this is our 20-year anniversary, which is amazing to me, for this fundraising event. So for almost 106 years, the Boys Home had a spring fling gala event, right, to raise money. And so 20 years ago, we came up with the idea. It was really my bride of 37 years' idea, because we were looking at bringing thoroughbred racehorses onto the Boys Home campus. And so
Well, you do equine therapy.
we
too,
do
don't you?
equine therapy, yeah, and
Yeah.
that started 20 years ago. So about that time, we had just come off of our spring fundraiser that night, and it was called Dinner at on the Titanic. It was at the aquarium, and it was a wonderful affair, and we raised the most amount of money we ever did with that spring fundraiser. But Smarty Jones was a long shot racehorse that won the Derby that year. And I was showing Jennifer the morning after our event, hey, look at this. It was a sports page in the Tulsa World. Smarty won the Derby. And she goes, without even missing a beat, there's your fundraising theme for next year. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you know, you're thinking about bringing these horses onto the campus for the boys, have a Kentucky Derby party. And I was like,
Great.
man, I'm glad I thought of that.
Did she let you get away with that?
No, but Sam, as soon as she said that, as soon as the words were out of her mouth, I kind of had this vision for what it would be, what it would look like
Sure.
and feel like, and the location. We have it at the pavilion every year, because some years we actually sell real horses, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, we auction them off, and it's kind of part of the fun.
When is it?
So it's May 4th, Saturday, May 4th this year. It's always the first Saturday of May. And we've got the semblance of the Oak Ridge Boys are going to be with us. So William Lee Golden and one of his original Oak Ridge Boys band members are going to be there to sing some tunes, not do a concert, because the musical entertainment has to be sandwiched in between the races. We have a betting booth set up, provided by Fair Meadows Racetrack, so our guests can bet on the races. So there's 5 races throughout the afternoon that our guests can bet on, and we don't get a cut of the money. In fact, Sam, when I promote the Run for the Roses event, I talk about it as the only fundraising event in Tulsa where you can come and support your favorite charity, Tulsa Boys Home, and leave with more money in your pocket than when you got there.
Oh, this can't miss.
You know?
I got to be there. One more time. We got about 40 seconds.
Yes.
When is it, and how do folks get
Just
there?
go on the Tulsa Boys Home website, www.tulsaboyshome.org, and they can sign up, they can become a sponsor, or they can buy tickets. Saturday, May 4th, doors open at 1:30. It ends at the end of the Kentucky Derby at 5:30-ish. And it's an open bar and fabulous food for 4 hours. You can bet on the races and win money, and it's just a grand old time.
Sounds like a grand night to me. Hey, thank you
Yes.
for coming by about it.
Thank you, Sam.
And telling us about it. I think what you're doing, and you know how I feel about you and the entire program, but I think you guys are a godsend to these kids.
Yeah, you know, it's we're blessed. We feel like we're the blessed ones that actually get to do this.
And you get to see the transformation.
Yes, yep.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Thank you, my
Yeah.
friend.
Thank you, Sam.
We'll talk
Thanks
again.
for having me on. Okay.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more right after this.